It killed my son.
Yeah. Fun, though, it might be a fun, but there's no fun inside of our hearts now. We're just literally gutted. So if that's fun, if I could show you my feelings on the table, people would understand. They'd have to see it inside of us to understand what it's done.
Their son Brian was 20 and had been taking E for some time.
The last few months, we didn't think it was our lad. He changed completely. As if it was another person inside him. It was him visually, but there was someone else inside him, and he just changed completely. You couldn't talk to him without him shouting back at you or something like that. How so far is that, mate?
It was just a nightmare.
Death actually comes to relatively few. However, nobody can be really sure in advance who will suffer a catastrophic adverse reaction, nor what the long-term effects of E might be. And E devotees can't be sure of what they're taking either. We bought 16 E tabs for testing. 10 proved to be made up of caffeine and amphetamine, sometimes repackaged in emptied antibiotic capsules. So, in effect, those who take E are playing double-barreled Russian roulette. And Coroner Roy Barter, who held the inquest on Brian Moss, says that even if users do buy the right stuff and don't die, they face another problem, the long-term one.
If you survive the one tablet and you get some pleasure from it, then naturally you're going to carry on taking it. And the danger is then, as with any drug, as you take it as the weeks pass, the effect of the drug may well be beginning to wear off a bit. You're not quite getting the same lift, the same excitement, the same passion that you did the first time. So if you've got the money, if you've got 10 or 20 pounds, to buy a second tablet, you'll buy a second tablet. For all I know, a third tablet as well. Now you're getting up into the danger levels now. You're now getting to a level where toxicity is a very great danger indeed.
And that very great danger is enhanced by the threat from Holland. Before snaring the man who supplied his brother, Sam Hutchinson was keen to point out the effect that E had had on his family.
A lot of heartbreak. Obviously you lose one brother and then 2 more are locked up in prison. It's a stressful thing for any family.
What advice would you have to some youngster going to a rave and being offered E?
I'd say stay well clear of them, because in the end, you're just going to mess your lives up. You're going to maybe not become dependent on them, but as all drugs, they'll destroy you.
Using Jonathan's contacts, Sam arranged for us to meet 2 of Holland's major suppliers. Posing as big backers of the British rave scene, we asked how much they could supply.
The reason I'm interested is it's a big market in Britain.
But now you can get 100,000 pieces. If you want more, that's no problem at all. But start it now first with 100,000. And it goes well for you and go well for us, you know.
And they'll be, do they come in capsule form or is it a pressed tablet?
It's pressed tablet.
Okay. If it goes extremely well, we hope to have shifted these within a month. How many could you do? How many E per shipment could you do if it goes well?
Depends on you, what you want. 100,000 every 2 weeks or something like that.
That's easy for you, is it?
Yeah.
More if necessary?
If you want more, it's necessary.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We gave their names and our evidence to the Dutch police, and then followed the trail through the British dealers to the teenagers who don't want to acknowledge there's a problem with E.
Well, they're running the danger of going out to a lovely party and coming home mad, which means admission to a psychiatric hospital. They're running the danger of a sort of brain damage which is going to stop them enjoying life for a very long time. We don't know how long these effects last.
Julian Rossiter now faces those long-term effects. In the short term, ecstasy nearly killed him. He'd heard rumours of the risks, but they were blotted out by the drug's much publicised feel-good factor.
You just feel great. It's like your birthday. It's a nice sensation in your body. You want to dance. That was part of my problem. I should have sat down, but I never. I was dancing. I was all right. I was great. I was eating up my cake. And next thing, everything just slowed down for me, like real slow motion. Then I went into a massive epileptic fit, which was like my heels touching the back of my head and all noises coming out of me. They had me on a breathing machine, and it was so many hours before they turned it off. And they brought the priest in twice to give me the last rites, so my mother told me. I didn't know it was that close till a couple of weeks later. But like he said, if he does survive, his brain could be damaged. If his brain's not damaged, his body will be damaged. Definitely off it now. But the ones that I still hang around with, there's a few, like I don't knock about with them now. They take tablets, but my close friends don't bother. You've seen how bad it was, like especially Wayne, like he was there and he seemed to fit, and it was really bad.
LSD for cash, guaranteed, strictly free, no crumbs for these.
In Worcestershire, an illegal rave. Illegal because it was held without anybody's permission.
Come on, I don't want to buy some of these so I can rave all night.
Illegal raves are far more frequent than legal ones and are often literally drug supermarkets. The drug dealers operating unhindered, as if their wares were legal.
I don't think personally that ecstasy should be legalised at all, if indeed there is any movement for its legalisation, because we are dealing with a killer drug, a drug which can and does kill. Kill in an acute form, kill out of thin air, kill out of the blue.
In Holland, the attitude to drugs is much more liberal. At this rave, ecstasy bought illegally can be taken without police hindrance to a stall called the Safe House. The newly purchased tablets can be tested. If the test turns them brown, they're not ecstasy. And the buyer won't use them. But if the test turns the tabs slate grey, then the tablet does contain ecstasy. So can we in Britain learn from the Dutch experience? In Liverpool, drugs counsellor Alan Parry, himself a former addict, argues that the problem would be better handled if the drug was legalised.
If it was up to me, I would certainly have a period where the drug was decriminalised, where we could analyse the drugs very quickly so we knew exactly what kids were taking, so we could warn them away from the more dangerous ones.
But you can't tell. There is no test to see if you're sensitive. The only test is the ultimate one. You drop dead.
But yeah, and exactly, that's what's happening now. Some kids are dropping dead, and actually more are dying than the figures report. But the fact is, they're determined to do it. The choice is not between doing it and not doing it. If it was legal, the choice would be between buying it off the streets or buying it from a market where the drug was measured, controlled. Then we could test it out.
But of course, making E legal might encourage more people to take it, and at the moment, not everybody does. The parents in tonight's programme argue there's no such thing as safe ecstasy. Certainly not in the case of Ian Hazelden. In retrospect, his parents now know Ian's frequent use of ecstasy was behind his violent mood swings.
The people who turn around and say ecstasy should be legalised and should be freely available, they just don't know what they're talking about. They should keep their mouths shut, because ecstasy, whichever way you look at it, is a killer.
As if to recognise the potentially serious problem, most raves these days provide a chill-out area where youngsters can cool down before they go home. But that can be too little, too late.
This drug is a potential killer. The unfortunate part is, of course, that when you talk to the youngsters at this place, they think it is a nice, little, safe designer drug, and trying to convince them that they are risking death. And the deaths are of ages between 16 and 24, 25, young, fit, nice young people, all of a sudden cut off in the midstream of their life.
And kids should be advised to keep off of it, stay away from it. And pushers and people like that, they should get life imprisonment as far as I'm concerned. They killed my son. Some scum out there, which I wouldn't call them, killed my son and ruined our family's life by selling him 4 or 5 stupid tablets.
Basic Productions are building the raver ringers who rival all others. Put the heat back in the scene with Basic, to be held in Leeds starting on Friday the 20th.
Today, Sam took a brave step. He decided to set out details of his brother's e-network for the police. For operational reasons, we can't show the dealers involved, but Sam's list and our basic evidence has been passed to Scotland Yard as the raids go on.
There's more to come from Basic.
We get brought into the world to bury our mother and father, but not to bury your children. Not that age. For that reason. Okay, there's all sorts of reasons. People died, like, but tablets.